We spoke extensively with the NFLPA, former players, wives of former players, and leaders in business, academia, and law enforcement. The policy is comprehensive, it is strong, it is tough, and it is better for everyone associated with the NFL.
Why should anyone trust anything Roger Goodell says these days? The Players Union certainly doesn't. And will players actually toe and sort any kind of morality line their employer demands when such lines have never really been enforced over decades? Let's dig into the latest from the National Football League and other stick and ball issues. We welcome back the man who originated the concept of covering sports business. His opinions heard and seen on multiple media outlets, read at horrowsports.com, and he still insists and knows I was the guy who gave him his start in the broadcast business. The sports professor stuck in traffic, Rick Horrow, joins us. Hello, Professor.
98% of what you just said is pretty darn good. You figure out what 2% is wrong.
I figure that's always a good way. Leave 2%. You never know. Leave people guessing. I understand that completely. There's the question now with regard to Roger Goodell. Rick, you and I both know, having been around sports for a long time, moral clauses have been in players' contracts for years. Why are we to believe that this is going to make things any different and it's going to be something that the NFL actually can make enforceable?
Well, because the eyes of the nation now steer popular opinion toward making sure that all of these issues withstand legal and political scrutiny. I know that's kind of a backhanded way of dealing with this. When you think of the issues over time, what it really means is that the players probably can't collectively bargain for this. They can claim that their rights are abused now, and they can deal with the fact that they should go to an arbiter. But Roger Goodell looks like he's giving up a little bit of power, it says. And the sponsors, the avid women's fans, the teams, the leagues, they're all watching. And we all wanted the NFL to make a strong social statement. And I think everybody agrees that this policy looks like it does. Plus, in the owners meetings in Dallas, talked to a number of owners. They have unequivocal support from Roger Goodell implementing this policy now. And he has some strong backing from the people that count, which are the NFL owners.
Let's also talk about the players here, because the National Football League Players Association, a very strong league, and they're not very happy. Here's their statement after this came out, basically saying, you didn't give us the professional courtesy of seeing this policy before it hits the presses. So, of course, they're angry. Wait a minute, Rick, professional courtesy here? It seems as if you're the league, you're in charge here, and the Players Association is going to fight this tooth and nail no matter what, if they could. They're not going to be happy with it. So I don't really personally see a problem with basically enacting this and saying to the NFLPA, it's this way or the highway.
And that's exactly what most people in the NFL's spin factory wanted people to believe. That's not a bad thing. It's the way you've got to implement this kind of policy. DeMaurice Smith is now put in a position of being an obstructionist. Remember, he's the labor leader.
Yep.
If he says, we're not going to cooperate with this. And after all, let's remember that the players' bad actions were the ones that brought on all of this in the first place. So I'm not sure if Roger Goodell wins the public debate at the end of the day. It really doesn't matter. And now the NFL is positioned as the proactive organization, and the labor union is perceived as the obstructionist. Go figure.
It almost sounds a little bit like what's happening right now in Washington, D.C. between the Democrats and the Republicans and the shutdown, actually. There's a whole lot to do with it here. Do you actually believe that what you've seen of the conduct policy finally is proper, will stand a legal test, and will actually get through to the players' heads?
Yeah, I personally believe that's the case. I believe there will be challenge, or at least let's say it is challengeable. You could file lawsuits on behalf of the players, on behalf of the Players Association. Players Association may end up doing that. I'm not sure the public would stand for it, but litigation is not something that is won in the court of public opinion. I do think it's well grounded in legal reasoning, though, and I think that will end up carrying the day.
Let's go ahead and spin to a couple of other things here. This was interesting. At a time when college football is making so much money, the University of Alabama-Birmingham fired its athletic director. They're going to shut down their football program. They say because they are losing money here. This is I don't want to say unparalleled here, but it certainly is fascinating to see college football get bagged for not making money. We always thought this was the major moneymaker at every university. What happened here?
It is, other than isolated circumstances. I've been involved in Birmingham. They had a big plan for infrastructure development, which included a dome stadium. Ironically, Atlanta and Birmingham, when you look at the history, had the opportunity to do some great things. Atlanta moved forward with the regional airport and all, and national. Birmingham kind of went the other way. This vote led to a recasting of what that program was going to be about. Legion Field fundamentally falling apart. That's the only public stadium available. So facilities are really important. UAB, in the shadow of Alabama and Auburn, didn't have enough money to participate and thrive.
Do you think that this is going to be any sort of a forebearer for other, and I use the word loosely, smaller colleges? Because maybe we're going to see a time when they will have to bring things in and more football programs start to go on the chopping block?
Well, I think Pacific in 1995 gave up Division I football.
Last one,
UAB
yep.
is second one.
Yep, last
and remember,
one.
that second one in 20 years. And I'm not sure this is a trend. I know that football produces more revenue than any other sport. And so if schools are looking at how they deal with football, in many ways they're looking at going the other way. Old Dominion, FAU, FIU, all schools that have gone to Division I in the past few years. So that trend.
We're also watching some videotape here of some of the players who were very, very angry when this happened. About a minute and a half left right here. The Georgetown Hoyas are now the latest athletes, the first in college basketball. They put on the I Can't Breathe T-shirts before Wednesday night's loss to number 10 Kansas. Rick, what does this say about the players? What does the NCAA think about this? Because we know in the NBA, their commissioner said, we agree with it. However, we think that it maybe should be done in a different manner, protests such as these.
Well, two big issues. The one is what the content really means, and second is how you display it. And so everybody that I've talked to in the executive boardroom say that these players are articulate, intelligent, should be given the right. Plus, it's a First Amendment issue to protest. It's just a question of, do role models run the risk of having messages interpreted the wrong way? So the message has to be very clear, but I don't think there's any circumstance where you shouldn't allow these well-reasoned, thought-out athletes the right to protest.
And we also should point out that it was an organized protest. It was silent. It was orderly. And that's exactly what it was by the players. They took it to exactly what a lot of people are asking such protests such as these to be. Mr. Horrow, we're all out of time. Unfortunately, my friend, I certainly hope that you are extricated from your vehicular incident here very soon.
Thank you for giving me the commitment of the Newsmax helicopter for next week.
It's no problem. It's on the way, as a matter of fact. It'll definitely let you get home.
I'm sure it is.
Rick, HorrowSports.com. HorrowSports.com. Don't forget it there. Rick, thanks so much for joining us, buddy. We'll talk to you again real soon. And MidPoint will continue.